Hello everyone, welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotraStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. I'm Lotro's community manager, Cordovan. We're going to talk a little bit about what to expect for the next couple of weeks. We'll talk about the PAX East area party that'll be taking place 1 week from today. Tell you a little bit about the raid on Bull Roar and what the plans are following that. We'll have time for your Q&A as well. Otherwise, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do today, but I think, at least for a little while, I'm going to wrap up what I started doing last week on Mordor. At some point, I may try to do a Skirmish event stream while the Ill-Omen Skirmish event is going live, which, hey, that's a thing. The Ill-Omen Skirmish event is live as of the 19th at 10 a.m. Eastern. And that runs, let me get that in front of me, through March 18th, being shut off on March 19th at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. However, this is also a good weekend for it because there is a 25% skirmish mark boost that runs through February 23rd, that being Sunday, shut off on Monday the 24th at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, plus 25% skirmish mark boost to time with the first weekend of the Ill-Omen Skirmish event, which runs through March 18th. I also really wanted to call out a couple of posts here. Someone in the forum said I should give this person a special title, and I agree. This person has certainly earned a quick forum title of all things. But I wanted to call this up because in case you don't know much about the Ill-Omen Skirmish event, you want a quick primer, we have over on the Lotro forums, Dottie, his guide for the Ill-Omen Skirmish event is available there. And if you go click on over to that, well, let me get the URL for that. And when you click on over to that, you get the following, which is not just a good guide on its own, but it also gives you some good links that you may want as well. We'll kind of give you a quick idea of what do you need to do, what's a skirmish event, and how do I ill-omen it. This will tell you all about how to be ill and how to skirmish and get the things that you are looking for. Additionally, I wanted to quick call out that he calls out Pineleaf's guide from 2016-2017 from over on LotroPlayers.com and links to them as well. And that's something you might want to take a look at. Additionally, because I know Pineleaf put a lot of work into those guides, and they're also excellent. And then also, if you want to find out more about these specific skirmishes that, you might find yourself running that you may be less familiar with, you can all do that as well. So anyway, I wanted to call that out on the stream here today for those who are looking for a bit of a tutorial on how to run the Ill-Omen Skirmish event, what it's about, what you can get for it, and that kind of thing. So there you go. All right. Point number 2. PAX East Meetup takes place 1 week from today at 7 o'clock Eastern over at the Adventure Pub in Arlington, Massachusetts. RSVPs are officially closed. That doesn't mean you can't go if you have not yet RSVP'd and you know that you're going to be coming. But we had to get a final head count to the venue for food and space purposes really by yesterday. And wouldn't you know, we are actually above what we thought. That's great news, because there is room for everybody. But that also means that there's really not much more room. But there might be room for you. So if you're absolutely stuck, unable to RSVP, and you were really hoping to go or something like that, there are some options potentially available, but PM me rather than try to go through the RSVP, because the RSVP is done. We're full. I was expecting somewhere maybe in the range of 40 to 50 based on previous years, which we had to cap at the time at 32. And we came in at about 60. So we're going to be a full place at the Adventure Pub, but there's room for it. Now, the Adventure Pub is a tabletop gaming establishment run by one Athena Peters, who used to be an executive producer over on Lord of the Rings Online, Vivienne. She has, in recent years, she has a career much beyond Lotra as well, and in recent years has been running like a production company and started her own Adventure Pub. It's basically a tabletop themed gastropub, and it's pretty cool. So we're going to be holding it there. It's away from the convention center, which is either good news or bad news, depending on where you happen to be. For folks like myself, it's a lot easier to get to than it is to get to down the sort of seafront of Boston on a Friday evening. Far less expensive as well. But we're going to provide the food. There is an open cash bar for drinks as well, both alcoholic and non. We're covering the tabletop space, so all of the games that maybe you've picked up at Pax East or that you want to bring with you for your kin members to play or what have you, it's all good, whether it be more Euro-style board games, hobby-style board games, game of Uno, or the One Ring RPG or something, even if you want to go that far into it. That will be available. We're also going to be doing Q&A. We're going to have some announcements. I don't know. I don't want to overpromise anything on the announcements front because, oh God, oh, I'm so doomed. No, is there a way I can outrun this guy? I can't beat this guy. Oh, yay. Thank you. Thank you. I am a coward. I admit this. Kazgul, just don't kill me, please. Oh, okay. Okay. Fine, well, I'll take on a whole army of them then. What am I doing? What did I actually... Oh, why am I using my bow? Oh, no! Oh, God. Jeez. I'm gonna have to kill some eventually, alright. It's fine. I know I've got some morale things. Can I just book it out of here until I can get on my steed? Go. Yay, I can do it! I can do it! Where's my out-of-combat run speed? And surely I've got a boost that I prepared. No, wait a second, I didn't prepare? It's alright. I'm fine. Yay! Victory. Sometimes it's a victory to survive. Kind of survive. Survive after your free revival. Alright, let me get over to chat. So, Friday night, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be awesome. I think we might even have a camera set up with a computer to do some, perhaps, quick check-ins from the event over on Lotra Stream. So, can't guarantee that, but it's a possibility. At the very least, I know we've got a bunch of streamers showing up on that Monday, so maybe we can do something cool there as well. So, should be good. Yeah, my horn to knock things out. I just was not prepared to respond at that point. Any news on character transfers? We are continuing to work on re-enabling them. We will have a formal announcement when that is done, both with character transfers from available worlds, maybe from some of the old worlds. We can talk a little bit about how we're going to deal with shared account transfer going forward, things like that. All that's incoming, but we're not quite ready yet. More, as you saw on yesterday's Bulwer, we went live with a new version of the Remor Chant raid, along with some other things, including a little bit of work on the character transfer system that's in the Bulwer release notes. So we're continuing to iterate and do some engineering work that needs to be done behind the scenes. When we're ready to go live with that, we're going to let you know, but it's still going to be a little bit of time yet. Same with the race changes, same with PVMP changes. I could give a similar answer. All right, there we go. The raid needs to, quote, get harder, Vinicius says over on YouTube. So I was talking to QA ahead of going into the show here today. And that was the general feedback that everyone was clear on. They're like, well, all right, so the overwhelming feedback is the raid is not tuned in difficulty yet, but that's fine. That's something that we can definitely do. So I think that we will be making the raid a little bit harder before it gets released to live. As to the when on release date, I don't want to give any expectation today. I think what you will find is that it should be in the fairly near future. But we've already done some iteration based on what was released yesterday to Bullroar, because we had last night's build, for example, that I already saw a whole bunch of raid-related check-ins on, and that I know that we've got more opportunities to iterate before going live as well. So does that also include another Bullroar preview? I don't know yet. I don't think that's quite been determined. I would say there's a possibility of it. But it may also end up being in a state where it gets released. But it won't be over the next couple of days. Further iteration work is being done and has been done, frankly, already on that. So that's the current state of the raid. Yep, it'll probably get harder, and it'll be released soon. Phil Newell, will there be a special announcement at this year's meetup? Probably. We want to do something special for everyone who is kind enough to attend. I don't know that it's going to be quite as big as some of the things we've been able to announce in the past, like, say, at the Gen Con meetups. But I know that we have a few things that we're considering about. We have to consider, like, well, okay, so what are we actually going to talk about? What's the thing that we're going to announce or show or say? So we're going to come up with something. I can't promise it's going to be on the scale of what we've done in the past, but we'll see. We'll see. Coyote Heart, do we have any plans to, quote, change our loot box policy? We released a overarching kind of philosophy, policy, and expectation about how we're going to operate there in 2017. And we have used that as a metric to measure ourselves against since that time. It's my hope that we achieve that goal, and when we don't, it is our expectation that the community will let us know, and we will make adjustments as best as we can. So, is there a change in policy? No. But we're going to stick to our existing policy as something that remains an expectation on the part of both us and you. Find a place to set this trap. I should be able to, it says to set traps there, so I should be able to in the near future. Yes, I am enjoying what I'm playing. This is fun stuff. Oh, how long will Bull Roar stay open? My understanding is the current iteration of Bull Roar is going down this afternoon. So pretty quickly, I think, is the answer to that, within the next couple hours. And then... like I say, the plan remains not 100% clear as to what we're going to do next week. But we'll see. So what exactly happened with the transfers to cause a long shutdown? So we changed a lot of our underlying hardware work. Starting in, what was it, September-ish on the Lotro side, and that carried through, well, frankly, it's still ongoing to some extent on the DDO side. And it necessitated a change in the underlying architecture that runs our character transfer system. It happened to coincide with one of the more, I guess, visible exploits that Lotro had seen in some time. And so while that may, have played a role in terms of informing, well, how quickly should it go down and stay down, etc., the actual reason for this lengthy delay has been the additional work that is needed to get the system back up and running under a new modern infrastructure. And as you've seen on Bull Roar, while we're making progress, we're not there yet, and we're certainly not going to re-enable it for something as sensitive as, like, say, all your stuff. Oh, and your character too, without extensive testing and that sort of thing. And so it just takes time. Yes, please, let me get into all sorts of detail about the exploits that were available. There was a pretty visible one that I'm not going to talk about, but is pretty common knowledge that allowed people to kind of abuse currency caps by utilizing them. system. And so there's been some people saying, oh, and that's why. But the larger thing has just been there's a lot of work to re-enable the system. And that work is ongoing. This is that horn one I should have used earlier. Level cap as on the legendary worlds is currently 85. That's pretty new. We released Riders of Rohan last week, right? To the legendary worlds. So, oh, here we go. So I don't have a lot of news to talk about other than the things I did. You know, we're really looking forward to Pax East next week. And you don't need a badge to attend the meetup, and it's going to be a nice full meetup, full of Lotro and DDO people, and frankly, so whenever we do these events, I always make it a point to ask for swag purposes. Are you a Lotro, DDO, or both? And invariably, I end up getting almost exactly 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3 of DDO, Lotro, and both, which means that you essentially have 2/3 of either DDO or Lotro, and then 1/3 which is not interested in the swag from the other game. But you also have a good third that wants swag from both. And so I try to do my best to accommodate when I can. I haven't seen the Lotro stuff yet because my understanding is it's still in process. But I've seen the other stuff, and it's looking pretty good. So I think we should have brand new swag for our meetup in 1 week. All right, well. It says this is a good place to set a trap, but it's not letting me. There we go. Could I just set them at the same place? And abuse the system? Yeah, there we go. I know it has been a while. It's been years since we had new swag. And we were able to make that happen. Shh, don't tell anyone. Oh yeah, I totally did my job. Oh yeah, man, I'm here for you, peoples of Middle Earth. I didn't cut corners. Alright, so still need to do a little bit of work here. Block Numenorians in particular. I don't know what your issues are, Rubenor. You two keep getting flagged. Okay, some of the issues brought up by players speaking of the level 85 cap. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head what you might be interested in talking a bit about. One of those might be the Skirmish vendor stuff, right? Or the marks and medallions items. I have had a conversation with QA about that. We made sure that we got everyone's kind of opinions sorted out, and we are in a position to pass it along to the relevant party as soon as that relevant party is available. And that is regarding what the minimum level of that particular gear should be. I gave an answer based on what is really kind of the official word at the moment, but we've also heard that that official word may be not 100% informed. So we'll have to take a look at it and see what we can do there. But because we haven't actually had an opportunity to speak to the person who did the work on that yet, kind of need to not promise anything today. There you go. Skirmish vendor is not allowing us to barter for raid gear. Legendary itemization is, quote, terrible. That I'm not sure that I can resolve for you today. The scaling is not at all there. In regard to scaling, are you talking about Minas Morgul on live? Are you talking about Riders of Rohan on Legendary? Or are you talking about the new raid, which we will be working to address in the near future? Riders of Rohan. Okay. Well, we could do some additional work if we feel compelled to on the difficulty of that content, but honestly, I don't know that that's something we have much in the way of plans to do. Sorry if you're finding it too easy. Perhaps that means you'll just be in a easier position to do the next bit of content when it's released, if possible. Legendary items, like I said, we've actually talked quite a bit about that. We've had some internal discussions about kind of what the form and shape of that should be. We've discussed with the people who would sort of be doing the work as to what their thoughts are on the matter. Those conversations are ongoing, and work will be done. So there will come a day where I'm going to have great news on legendary items, hopefully. But that day is not today. Upcoming Landrevel event tomorrow at Moore's PvMP Raid Night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Join us and fight in a 40v40 plus raid night. That comes from Zoom over on Facebook. Landrevel, Ettenmoors, PvMP Raid Night tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Sounds like an awesome time. I hope you have a great event. The raid needs to get harder, yes. Did I say something about open job positions? I have actually recently, because we did have a few open positions. We had one for a content developer for Lotro. That one got, as you might well imagine, high interest from a lot of applicants, and I think we stopped taking applications at something in the very surprisingly large number amount. I believe that both our positions are now full, and we recently advertised for a release engineer, and we were able to welcome a new release engineer to the studio this week. So I believe that means we're not currently hiring, although I am not really all that much visibility in the process for the most part. It's handled by other people. But we did. We were in the midst of interviewing, I know, for some Lotro content peeps. And the release engineer just got hired. You missed out on that one. And as to be expected, video game jobs, high interest. Crap. No, Zide. Mithril coin mailing will not be returning. Sorry. Period. Great buff to champs on Bullroar. More to come, question mark. I think that depends on the schedule of the people involved. I think we can expect that to be what we're going to see in the short term here. But I would also imagine that we will do additional work in the future. I just don't want to commit to a time frame. Did I give an answer on this yet? The status of the legendary server update needed for like all the gear and no raid gear. Also, allies are not working as intended. Third ages are better than first. Yes, we have read that feedback. The gear we're going to be taking a look at, I already answered that one just recently. Allies we're working on, and the third agers being better than first. That's frankly been a thing for a little while now. That came up when we did the first stage items on Minas Morgul, and we got some pretty significant feedback that they were in fact not equal. But perhaps on the current state on Riders of Rohan, that's a different place. Yeah, I know. I'm not playing very well today. I could have stayed alive. That one is entirely my fault. Yeah. That's not how literally works. I know. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at that. Game sound down as the music is too loud. Yes. Sorry about that. We turn down the music volume for starters and drop the master volume a little bit more. Okay. I don't want to set an expectation on the new producer's letter. I will say, however, that progress has been made. I don't actually need to set these traps. It's just that it's blinking at me. It's blinking at me saying, no, you need to do this. Carista13 asks who did the music for the latest update. It's good. That is one Bill Champagne, Darth Celtics, on the forums, in-house composer.
Listen well to my orders.
I'm sorry that you have found Guardian sets disappointing for years, zip file. Happy Friday to you too. So, we can expect... I would expect a small patch perhaps next week. Maybe stay tuned for more info on the raid. Maybe latter half of next week, maybe. Or the week after, something like that. We have a week from today our big Pax East gathering at the Adventure Pub. It's going to be a full house. That's awesome. Thank you. If you RSVP'd, you're in. We'll see you there with swag and food. Related to Pax East, we'll be having some people visit the studio, so I would expect maybe some general Q&A style questions among MMO bloggers and press people.
Thank you, my friend. Let us go together to Deangarth. This may be the last meal we take all together, before the end of the war, or our lives.
So, Earth, I followed up on the current status internally on the race change item, and it's not yet ready to be sold, but it's coming soon. So hopefully we'll have news on that in the near future. But nothing I can say today. Will the gathering be live streamed at all? It's possible. I don't want to promise anything, but it's possible. Because we are going to be in a place that has internet and the ability probably to hook up a computer at the very least. So I would like to do some kind of check-in from the event with some of the Lotro streamers and that I know are going to be there and actually check in live on Lotro stream. But I also, it is a event to hang out with friends in real life. And so often there's just too much else going on to really have time for that when you're in the moment. We'll see how that goes. Potentially, though. Yeah, and then I assume part of what we're intending to do with the computer that we would set up if we go that route, which I assume we will be to show off whatever we can show you about whatever it is we can talk about. Unfortunately, on the Lotra side, we're in a position where by the end of February, a lot of what we've been working on has already been released, right? Because the instances... the raid you've now seen on Bullroar twice. We have a producer's letter incoming. Hope was to get that out for the party. I can't promise that. But I would imagine we could leak a little bit of that, maybe. And then depending on the state of things, we could have some pretty big things to show. But I don't know what the state of our ability to do that is. So I think it may be a little lighter on Lotra news, but also... a lot of fun on the Lotra side because we're going to be able to show a whole bunch of cool stuff. At the very least, we're going to work on, I think, some concept art and show some of the building process of this kind of thing. Mark, over on Facebook, yes. I am pretty sure that kinship housing will also be available on Rohan. I think that's... You guys saw a lot more than we intended to see on Rohan housing, which was great. but also a little nerve-wracking because, like I said, it was a particularly early state, which you saw there. Oh, that's not the case. Okay. Okay. I stand corrected. Druid's Fire says, scenario says that is not the case on Kinhouse. Let us sit and speak of happier things. Okay. If you wonder why I'm maybe a little less up as to what all's been leaked on Rohan yet, it's because I've been busy. We've been busy on actual releases to the live worlds and everything, so I'm a little behind as to what all snuck out here last week. So we have about 15 minutes left before the end of the show, so good time to kind of get any major questions answered. When I look at the calendar, I think I've pretty much mentioned everything. I'll be getting the beacon out this afternoon. I would point out that we have a weekly coupon that'll go out this afternoon too, but it's a landscape soldier token, might be of use to you, and the coupon code is WITHME, WITHME. I believe that's active technically now.
The Bright Company prepared to depart for the secret way of Hallworth.
I hoped it would not be necessary to recall that dark day.
I do not understand this reluctance.
Very well. I will conclude the tale, despite my misgivings. Will you hear me then? Listen now to the last glory of the Bright Company.
I have not heard of changes to do, or plans to do major changes to the Beorning. I talked recently to Vasson just to make sure he understood just how much our some of our players want class work to be done for their respective class. And so I think he's got a pretty good handle on your feedback. As always, the biggest challenge is finding the time for it all. But I think he's pretty up to date as to the work that needs to be done, and then just better of making that happen. Good question on what's going to happen with the legendary worlds once we reach the quote live content. We're not there yet. It's going to be a while. I think similar to the experiment that is, you know, the legendary worlds to some extent to begin with, I think the state of the legendary worlds and interest in the community and playing on them is going to play a large role in determining what we do at that point. So we'll see. Any way to get old concept art? So there has been some concept art released on social media over the years. We lost our Lotro Pinterest page, but I remember back in the day, Sapiens had posted up some old concept art and stuff on there. So I know that it's floating out there. I bet Google search would get you a bunch of results. We're actually going to be working, I think, in the next week here to figure out what might be new that we have that we can release for the social gathering in a week. So I think there should be some new stuff. And then if that all works out, it'll trickle its way out on social media and that sort of thing, too. I'll open my Hobbit gift. It makes you nervous. I understand. There you go. Yeah, there's something about the passage of time where a lot of that old stuff ends up getting lost. It occurs to me because whenever we get to the anniversaries, there's always an interest in finding old, like, say, 2007 game screenshots and things. And that stuff was never, it should still be online for the most part, but it gets just kind of buried over the detritus of a decade plus of sort of online life. Ill-Omen's skirmishes are locked for Valar characters. I will look into that, Yicky. Locked as in you need to do the skirmish tutorial? That doesn't sound that big a deal, but locked as in there's a whole bunch of content you can't play because you have to unlock the skirmish. That may be something we would need to address on an individual skirmish basis, would be my guess. No, you need to do the book quests. Okay. I mean, I hear ya. But you could just do the book quests. When relevant and necessary. Yeah, I would agree that ideally, I think it would unlock all skirmishes that would have been in prior content when you Valar up. I think we can all probably agree that we've made significant strides in the Valars in recent years in terms of functionality and getting you to a place, I think particularly with Minas Morgul here, getting you into a place where you can get into it pretty quickly. But especially with a game as extensive, expansive, and lengthy as Lotro, there's always going to probably be some stuff that if it's relevant to you, you may have to go back and do some associated work. Like perhaps unlocking some skirmishes by running the relevant book quests. I think ideally, though, that wouldn't be the case. But I don't know that I would call that, say, like a blocker on the skirmish event or something like that. But I do hear what you're saying. Climb the spiral stair and speak with an elf at the bride company outside the upper chambers. Okay. Maybe next time, huh? Let me grab a quick screenshot for this show. Legendary server is currently at 85. We just recently released the Riders of Rohan expansion to it. Titles are gear for their accounts for playing on the legendary servers. Absolutely, I think we already have done some titles, right? Ooh. Kind of a big deal. But, yeah. I don't know about gear. In general, I think gear might not be the best solution. But certainly things like titles and that, yeah. I just updated the Lotro Stream calendar, and that includes a brand new show that debuted yesterday. Let me make sure I get the name right. War's Song of the Rings. This is with Eternal War 327, so twitch.tv/Eternal War 327 is the channel name. We'll be streaming every Wednesday. Starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so Wednesday nights. Welcome, welcome. And we do have a newly updated calendar as well for those of you who want to catch the other shows. It was Wednesday, not yesterday. Yes, but in my mind, today's Thursday, so that was 2 days ago. What day is it? It's almost like we released 2 major game updates, released to the Legendary World while putting together a PAX East party and all this other stuff. I've been a little busy. Ooh, look at that, though. Look at that! Okay, no, this needs to be my screenshot. Let's see. Can I get a good emote going? I don't have that emote yet. Sorry. I know the uses of your people, dwarf. Greedily do they dig for precious gems and myriad secrets, ever willing to cast aside their brother or sister in pursuit of them. 'Twas always so, 'twill be always thus, and dwarves will not live to see any differently. I've called into being a storm, and it is on its way. Your alliance will be swept away by the wrath of us all. Yeah, the cool portrait things also. All right, so Corey's out this week, so we'll be going over to Druid's Fire show right after this one. I'm just going to wait till this instance is complete before I wrap it up. No! Nice. Fuck. Why are we going through? I don't know. I mean, we could have just gone around them. Just saying, we could have gone around them. We could have gone around them. When we returned to the relative safety of Adam Bell, we were greeted with more sorrow than we brought with us. Men spoke in hushed tones of the last ride of the noble Anarian, son of their high king, slain on the field. Without the power of the Oathstone, the Gazaburan, splintered, no longer unified. The storm of wrath dissipated, falling apart into its component tribes. Gazaburan? I think we're going to end on a cliffhanger here. Hey, Oogs. All right, I am going to leave it right there then. Thank you so much for watching Court of the Rings here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I will probably not be back next Friday because of the aforementioned Pax East Player Meetup. If I happen to be in the office around noon, I might do a small stream or a regular stream, but there's also a pretty good chance I'm not going to be in the office at all that Friday because I'll be out and about around the convention area and what have you. So could be 2 weeks before we speak again here on Court of the Rings, but you can find the full schedule over on twitch.tv/LotraStream. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for playing the game, and I will talk to you again in the future. Bye-bye.